You're listening to the HR Happy Hour Network, sponsored by WorkHuman. If you've ever wondered what good can come of AI for HR, meet Human Intelligence. It uses the uniquely authentic data of WorkHuman's #1 rated employee recognition platform to uncover insights into good culture, skills, performance, and more. It also helps coach employees on what good peer-to-peer recognition looks like, turning every good job into better engagement, retention, and well-being. And it surfaces feel-good stories that illustrate the best of your company's culture. Learn about human intelligence at workhuman.com. That's WORKHUMAN.com, and join their force for good.
This episode of At Work in America is sponsored by Paychex, one of the leading providers of HR, payroll, retirement, and insurance solutions for businesses of all sizes. Are you gearing up for the summer hiring rush? Don't stress. Paychex has got your back with the seasonal hiring checklist. Whether you're hiring for summer, back to school, or the holiday season, this free checklist is your step-by-step guide to building your best team. From AI-powered recruitment tools to prepping your onboarding process, it's designed to help you hire smarter, faster, and stress-free. Plus, you'll get tips for crafting job descriptions, marketing your openings, and even making sure you're staying compliant with labor laws. Don't wait until the last minute this year. Grab the checklist today at paychex.com/AWIA. That's PAYCHEX.com/AWIA. Make this hiring season your easiest yet.
Welcome to At Work in America, the podcast that leads the conversation on the future of work. Proudly sponsored by Paychex and WorkHuman, we go beyond the headlines to uncover bold ideas, fresh perspectives, and the real stories of people shaping workplaces for the better. And now, here are your hosts, Steve Bose and Trish Steed, bringing you the insights and trends that will inspire what's next in the world of work.
Welcome to the At Work in America show. My name's Steve Bose. I'm with Trish Steed. Trish, good afternoon as we record. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you today, Steve?
I'm great. I am so excited for today's show.
I
I always love when we get the chance to meet with someone and talk with someone from a brand or a company that we've got some experience with. And I'll talk a little bit about that later in the show, but we're going to talk about talent, skills development, upskilling, maybe a little bit about Gen Z in the workplace too. Our guest today is Paul Yater from 84 Lumber. And I'm going to ask Paul to share the 84 Lumber story for folks maybe who live in a state that does not have an 84 Lumber close by, but Paul's the Chief Information Officer and Head of HR at 84 Lumber. They are the leading and I think largest private company supplying building materials for residential, commercial. They're all over the place, over 7,000 employees. Paul, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks for the opportunity. Glad to be here and glad to get a chance to tell our 84 story.
Yeah, it is a great story. Like I said, I've got some experience with it, which I'll share in a moment. But maybe for folks who don't know much about 84 Lumber or don't happen to live near one, because I know you're not in every state, maybe give us, the 60, 90 seconds or however long you want about just a little bit about the 84 Lumber story.
Absolutely. So founded by Mr. Hardy, Joe Hardy, and then now led by privately held family. Maggie runs the company and owns the company. We are 320 facilities in 34 states, and we're about over 7,500 associates now. So
nice.
Building material supplier. So, we really are a business-to-business company. So our customers are, large home builders, and so the large national guys, smaller regional builders, down to your individual contractor, your deck guy, your remodeler, anybody that's helping in building the American dream, as we like to say, and providing shelter for folks in America. So that's who we are.
Yeah, love it. And the 84 Lumber it was great to be in one. You mentioned it's sort of a business to business. I roamed around a couple of 84 Lumbers. I used to live really close to one. And honestly, I would go there occasionally. I wasn't doing a lot of construction projects, but I had one pretty big one at a house I used to live in. And when you go to, I don't want to knock anybody by name, but sometimes you go to some of these other kinds of home places, and your experience there's going to be a little hit or miss, right? They're just massive, and they have their own challenges and set of problems. But at the 84 Lumber, people know what they're doing. They're experts in their fields, and they can sort of take the time to talk to you, right? Even someone like me, who was really a smaller customer, probably, right, walking into an 84 Lumber, but you have that personal experience and that hands-on kind of experience at 84 Lumber, which really makes it stand out, right, compared to some of the others.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to get to talk about our manager trainee role, which is our entry level role, and we really pride ourselves on that training to teach the folks to learn the construction industry, learn building materials, learn product knowledge, and really be able to help those customers in that way that you described. So,
Yeah.
We say you don't need to know anything about construction or how to swing a hammer when you start here, but we've got what I would consider world-class training programs. Both, we've got an on-site training facility that we put, over a couple of thousand people through every year. We've got a wonderful learning management solution and other tools around that to help folks learn it. And then, our people in our stores are very knowledgeable. And over 96% of our store leadership team started life as this entry-level manager trainee. So we've really got a culture of pay that forward and teach that. And, you're going to be elbow to elbow with a manager and those they were doing, probably a co-manager that's learned. And, it's just really about who we are, about building that next generation of leaders in this industry and really teaching product knowledge, systems knowledge, and just helping people understand how to finish their projects like this.
Yeah. You know what, Paul? The one thing when I first went to your website, even that comes through loud and clear from the moment you hit the landing page, right? You have the videos, you have all about that value that you all place on training and kind of knowing every role within the company so that everyone does have that. I don't think there are many companies out there that I've seen that are actually taking that really robust approach when they're first, whether you're a customer or whether you're a potential candidate, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really who we are. I mean, it's authentically who we are. That's why we try to do a lot of the day in the life so that you really understand what this is and what the opportunity is. I mean, we look for folks who are willing to work hard, sponge, learn, want to, this is probably a non-traditional job, right? You're going to work outside. You're going to work with your hands. You're going to load and unload customers. You're going to be part of building materials, but you're going to learn how to operate a store. You're going to learn how to work with customers. You're going to learn how to build a book of business. You're going to learn how to run a P&L. You're going to learn about inventory. So there's really a lot here. I would like to say this is a company of opportunity. If you're really good as that manager trainee in an entry level role, you probably get promoted within 6 months. You could be a co-manager within a year. And if you're really good and there's opportunity, which we're still growing and there is opportunity, you could be running your own store here in 3 years. So that's something that we really, we don't just say that, we mean that. And that's truly what the plan looks like, to be able to get you trained up and ready to go and to learn and be ready to run your own store in 3 years.
Yeah, Paul, I'm glad you shared some of that. And it's a really incredible story. I mentioned in the pre-show before we turned the recording on, we just recorded, Trish and I recorded yesterday, I don't, run soon, where we were talking with one of the HR tech entrepreneurs in the space, Caitlin McGregor from Plum, who's fantastic. But one of the things she was talking about was, with the wave of AI that's coming right into industry and into organizations, that it has the potential to really eliminate or really drastically change lots of the sort of desk-based kinds of jobs that young people would take, either coming out of college or even coming out of community college or whatever the case may be. Right, those entry-level kind of startup jobs those might just go away. Like if you were going to be a clerk somewhere, or you're going to be a lower level, copywriter somewhere, right? Those jobs might be disappearing due to AI. And places like 84 Lumber, I think, Paul, offer younger folks especially lots of opportunities that, at least I don't think, or at least not anytime soon, like AI is coming to take away. And I'd love for you to comment a little bit about how you think about sort of that new generation coming in, and how you approach that at 84 Lumber, bringing those folks into the workplace.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I don't think AI is going to take away these kind of roles. I mean, somebody's going to be there to need to unload and load, and the physical nature of this job. But I also think the customer relationship side of it, and really understanding your customer and understanding the products and the knowledge, is something that you have to learn, and understanding the home building process and where are you, or even if it's not a home, if you're doing a deck or whatever your project is. I mean, that's one of the first questions we teach everybody to ask is, what's your project, right? What's your project? And figuring that out, and those, consultative selling skills, and, asking those open-ended questions to really learn about what the customer is trying to do is something that I think is going to take a human being. But I think, I do think you're calling out a real opportunity here, is that if this is really that entry level role where you can be promoted. I mean, you can become an area, and it's not, maybe you don't want to run a store, maybe you want to become a sales professional. We've got over 1,000 outside sales people that are managing those relationships. So, you could build a sales career. We've got several hundred, over 450 people here at our team headquarters location just outside of Pittsburgh, where, you can get into a marketing or a purchasing or a human resources or technology, or, what you consider your traditional, team headquarters kind of functions, to support the business. But I think, could AI help us, speed that training process? Could AI help us help with that product knowledge? Sure, there may be some tools that we put in that toolbox to be able to help those associates learn faster and be more productive quicker, but I don't think it's going to replace those folks at all. I mean, we're still hiring, we're still growing. We're trying to find ways that we can, put technology in the hands of our folks to be able to help customers more quickly, better, all those kinds of things. Certainly technology is part of who we are and what we do. But I certainly don't think AI is going to replace our manager trainee or our store managers or what we do. I mean, I don't think we're going to get Amazoned anytime soon either. I don't think we're going to be delivering lumber on drones either, if you want to throw all the technology out there, right? So, so yeah, wonderful opportunity. Really can come here to learn and really be successful and truly build a career. And I would say connect to something that matters in the United States, right? I mean, we believe that home ownership and building that American dream is something to be connected to, right? We are a part of all the communities that we serve, and we love to give back to those communities and just being connected to those communities. So I think it's a little bit something that you can really have a passion for and connect to. There's just not enough housing in the United States right now. That it's a math problem, right? There's just not enough houses out there for all the folks that we've got in our country.
Yeah. I think too, when we think about maybe students who are getting ready to graduate high school, right? We're almost to that time of year again. My kids are in college. Steve's son is recently in college as well. And so I think the one thing that we're hearing more, and that we've even talked about more on the show over the last couple of years, is there has been sort of a wave of students from high school opting not to go into college and to pick more trade related industries. So I'd love to hear maybe a little bit about what are some of the skills you're looking for to be in the trainee program.
Sure.
And is someone coming out of high school qualified to come and start up that path?
Yes. So let's start with the skills. But I would say the short answer to the question is yes. We think anybody is potential for this role that they think is right for them. So what are some of the skills? I think, being coachable is certainly one. We think you've got to be somebody that wants to learn and is willing to listen, be a sponge, ask questions. I would say very driven. We're an incentive-driven culture. So if you like looking at that scoreboard, those are both individual goals. So we give personal sales quotas, and then we've got store quotas where the entire store team is motivated by, the entire store doing well. Those are the kinds of skills that we're looking for. Able to build those relationships with customers is important too. Able to build a rapport and have customer focused skills. And then just sort of that grit and determination and willingness to, bet on yourself and be willing to learn and dedicated. It's not easy work. I mean, our typical schedule is at least 48 hours a week, and sometimes it's more than that. We're open on weekends so that we can serve customers as well. So, and there's a physical nature to it, right? You got to be willing. This is not your, hey, I'm going to be a manager trainee and sit behind a desk and wear a suit and tie. This is, hey, look, I like working with my hands, or I like being involved in, I want to go visit a job site. I want to be out. I want to be out and about, and I want to be connected to something like this. Could you be behind a computer, entering orders or estimating product or looking at a set of, plans and helping somebody understand their project and putting together a material list and estimating what that project looks like? Absolutely. But it's a little bit of both. So if you're looking for that non-traditional career where you're not just sitting behind a desk all day long, that this is absolutely for that. I would say one other thing that we see is somebody that's been connected in team sports tends to do well with us because A, there's a scoreboard, B, it's very collaborative, very team oriented. So those are some of the things that we look for as we're talking to folks. And but quite frankly, we draw from all angles. We look for, sometimes it's military folks, sometimes it's college degrees, sometimes it's not a college degree, sometimes it's people that started college and figured out maybe college wasn't for them, and they're trying to find that career path where I don't necessarily have. I can come and learn something and learn a skill and learn a set of capabilities and knowledge and be successful without necessarily having to have that degree. If you got it, great, we'll take it. But if not, there's opportunity here for you as well.
I think that's important for not just younger people to know and think about, but even for someone who's maybe been in your current career for a long time. There are so many people we talk to, whether it's on the show or at events or just out in the world. They love working with their hands. They love doing things where they are learning in the moment and getting to help people. And like you said, I was so glad you mentioned team sports, because when you were starting to talk about it, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like any athlete would be a great, person for this type of role. And I will say too, I think some of the recruitment things, from the videos to just the information you have on your site, after I was watching them, I went fully down the rabbit hole onto YouTube. I was watching video after, and I thought, I could see me working there. I could see me doing this. So even as someone who has not had any experience in the lumber business, I think it was really intriguing the way that it's not just about the lumber itself. It's about that feeling of camaraderie. And I think a lot of employers now struggle with getting that. So what's your secret to maybe getting and continuing that camaraderie feeling?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And thanks for recognizing. We've put a lot of work and a lot of, hats off to our marketing partners who've worked with us a lot in our recruiting message, and quite frankly, trying to tell the story. I mean, that's truly what we're trying to do, and be authentic and be upfront about what is it and what isn't it. And that's why we try to do a lot of that day in the life. But, it's interesting. I would say a lot of the culture has been built over time, but it starts from the top. Maggie, as the owner and the she's put her blood, sweat, and tears and put her heart into this place. And I think she knows her and her family have been successful, but she knows they've been successful because of a lot of wonderful people that work here. I mean, everybody will tell you their company feels like a family, but this truly feels like a family. And we're just collaborative. There's not a lot of politics here. People want to help each other. And it's the culture that's been built. Our chief operating officer who is leading the company started his career as a manager trainee, and we're committed. It is the future of this company. That role is that key to us because it creates so many opportunities and creates so many leaders in this organization. Everybody is committed to that entry level position and how important it is to the company, and the growth of the company and the opportunities that we've got. So it's just the culture of who we are, and everybody wants to help and pay it forward. And they've been a lot of the people that are in leadership roles have stood and walked a mile in those shoes. So and they remember that. One of the things about 84 Lumber is everybody will tell you a story about somebody who influenced them in their career and who helped them get to where they are today. It's just who we are. The promote from within is real here. There's not a lot of, I'm one of the few folks from the outside who's made it. And there are others as well, but like I said, over 90% of those folks, 96% of those folks in those stores started life in that same piece. So I think there's a real commitment and a real understanding and a real care, and just, it's a family. And I think Maggie would say she wants to see common people do uncommon things and be successful. I've traveled a lot with Maggie, and I've never seen her leave a store without asking, what do you need and how can I help you? Yeah. So it's really about giving everybody in those stores what they need, the tools, the inventory, whatever it is that they define to be successful. I would say, of those 320 facilities, we've really got 320 entrepreneurs out there who are really trying to drive their business. We give them top line goals. They've got bottom line goals. We give them systems. We give them inventory. But how they get from where they are to where they want to be, they've got to be the leader. They've got to be working with customers. They've got to be building those relationships. They're building their team. So it's really up to them to figure out how to hit those goals and what they need to do and how they do it. So.
Paul, yeah, I tell you what, Steve, you better watch out, because I'm feeling like I'm a perfect manager candidate here.
We'll take you. I know the guys in recruiting.
Tell you what, I would encourage you. Some days it beats like what we're doing for sure. There's no doubt. But I do think there's a lot to be said for that. Like it's the connection part, Paul. You can hear it in your voice, right? Like the passion for the organization and what you're doing and the difference that you're making. The in two ways, right? The difference you're making for people in their careers and their development and having them be successful, but also the difference that 84 Lumber is making in communities, right? Supporting those home builders, supporting those developers, and trying to help people like live out their dreams, right? Like, as you mentioned, it's the dream of so many people, right? To get into that home, either whether that's that first home or the next home, right? And we don't have enough of them, right? And so any way that we can do as a society to make that dream more attainable, right, and more possible, both the career dreams as well as the home ownership dreams. And it's a fantastic story. And I think like one that doesn't get told enough, right? Especially we're swimming in, AI and all this, not, it's like, but hey, this is like real impact happening in communities all across the country, like right now. And I think it's a fantastically motivating and inspiring story. So much so, Trish, you're ready to like hang up your business analyst job and go apply at 84 Lumber. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I think in the corporate world, it's often that we do sort of work on things that aren't directly like a deliverable necessarily, right? So you never really see the fruit of the labor, right, in the form of something that occurs. So I think when you talk about, I'm thinking back to working in healthcare, for example, and we had people that would volunteer time after work just to work on building things. I was at a children's hospital. They would go and work with like our groundskeeping team to help build things, build a garden, build all the, and I think that what you're talking about, it sort of scratches both of the itches, right? You can have an impact, you can manage a store, you can do some really exciting things in that regard, but then you also can achieve something tangible, which I think a lot of workers really like to connect to companies that do that, because when you talk to employees, they can't always tell you how their role impacts the entire business. And Paul, it sounds like that's what you're giving them from day one, how you fit, where you fit, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's such. I mean, as the guy that heads recruiting and thinking about that, I mean, it's truly we have opportunities here. How do we go find those right people to match with those opportunities? Because we know folks can be successful, and we will do everything we can to help them be successful in every single way. I mean, I've got recruiters that get calls from folks that they hired as manager trainees years ago that are now running their own stores, and they love to see that. And every once in a while we'll do a coaching tree of one of our store managers and say, okay, here he had these people, and now here are all of the managers that are on his coaching tree that he created and started as manager trainees. And it's amazing to see that and hear that and be a part of that, because it's truly about giving opportunities to people, and you can be successful here. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's motivating. I'm glad you can hear the passion, because I am passionate about it. That's what we're trying to do, is just match those people with it. It's not for everybody, right? It may be a non-traditional career. We're not a corporate kind of place, right? If that's not necessarily what we're looking for. We have corporate roles, all that, but this opportunity, we're trying to find that unique candidate and find that, we always keep saying, hey, how can I find, I wish I could get AI to clone that, hey, these are what these people look like, and it's a natural fit. We talked about some of those skills and some of those competencies and capabilities that we look for and what we think is successful. But it's not necessarily always the same, right?
Yeah. Right. Well, I think AI is bringing that, though. That's sort of what we're seeing even from vendors in the space. Vendors are going to be able to help, store managers or owners of these types of businesses truly kind of figure out what needs to be there from a skills standpoint. Again, working in HR myself for many years, over 2 decades, it's like there were definitely times where we thought we knew what skills were valuable in a certain role, like for sales, for example. And when you really peel it back, it was maybe some different skills that we weren't even tapping into. So I do feel like there is a room for AI eventually to kind of filter into what you're doing from a recruitment standpoint and help you out there. Lots of advances coming.
I want to mention a couple things, Paul, here, that I have in my notes that I think that the team at 84 can be really proud of, and I think is proud of. First is 84 Lumber has been named one of Newsweek's most trustworthy companies in America for the last 2 years, 24 and 25. And also named one of Forbes America's best large and mid-sized employers for the last 3 consecutive years, right? So those are 2 different awards, but 2 really prestigious ones. I'd love for you to comment a little bit about that, Paul, like, from your experience, both the trust angle, but also, hey, this is a really good place to work, and we've got some external validation right? That sort of backs
Sure.
that up.
Sure. I mean, I think trust is a key word, and trust is something that is earned, right? Nobody hands you trust. You have to earn trust from associates, from customers, from everybody, right? And I think that's just something that we take a pride in, and people have told us, because there's a whole process for they interview customers, they interview associates. It's secret sauce as to how they pick. It's not like you get nominated for it and those kinds of,
Yeah.
at least on the trustworthy side. So I think that means a lot to us that our customers and our associates have told us that they trust us, because I think relationships are built on trust and success is built on trust. So that's an important one to us. And then I think the other one, talks about the success. I mean, hey, look, we are a growing company. We're, this industry has opportunity, but we're one of the leaders in this industry, if not the leader in this industry. And I would say we train a lot of the leaders throughout this industry, even if they're not wearing the 84 ball
Yeah.
anymore. A lot of those folks that are at some of our competitors have spent some time here with us, and maybe cut their teeth and learned about the industry and learned some of the processes here. So I think it says, we're still opening stores, we're growing. There's a physical presence to who we are. So yeah, I think those are nice accolades to have that are reaffirming of the mission that we're on and what we're trying to do, and the people that we're doing it with, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't win those awards without a wonderful group of people that you're working with every day, and that's the other thing that's so special here is it's a collaborative environment. Nobody's trying to, this is not a political corporate kind of place. It's a roll up your sleeves, get her done kind of blue collar. We're connected to a very hands-on industry, and we're a very hands-on kind of group.
Yeah, Paul, I love that. I just think this is a great, I mean, this happens in other places too, but I don't care about those other places. This is a really good American success story, quite
Sure,
frankly.
absolutely.
Company's almost 70 years old, privately held, right? Expanding, as you say, as we speak, still 7,500 employees plus. I'm not quoting anything that's not written down and published, Paul. $6 billion in revenue, right? So we're not talking about a tiny little thing, but it comes across that way, right? You mentioned like you've got these 300 locations out there and they're all empowered, right? They have their goals and they have their metrics they're trying to meet, but they're like 300 small businesses maybe in a way, right? That sort of add up to a really big business. Yeah.
That's absolutely right. That's well said. I would tell you, we feel like a $6 billion small family business. That's what it feels like. But we've got size and scale that help us to be successful and drive change and help us do the best for our customers and for all the folks across the United States doing what they're doing. And but we're not too big for our own britches. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's such a good story. Paul, like, what are you thinking in terms of, I mean, obviously your role is beyond human resources, but just in terms of future growth, maybe a year out, 2 years out, is there anything that's really top of mind for you? Is it something more traditional like compliance? Is it something, more functional to help the people in the field when they're working? Like, what is really something that you're thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll take both. I'm technology and human resources, so it's about our technology and our people, and it's how do we continue to find ways for our associates to leverage technology, and what does that roadmap and what does that transformation look like, and how do we give people the tools that they need to make the best decisions and serve our customers in the best way that they possibly can, whether that's faster, whether that's easier, whether that's the right information to make better decisions, just putting those tools into their hands and helping them. I was, lots of companies or product companies or marketing companies. This is absolutely a stores company. I mean, our 7,500 folks are out there helping our customers every day. We at our team headquarters are here to serve our store associates and help them help our customers. And whatever I can do from a technology or a people perspective to help that happen, that's my mission, and that's what I'm trying to do every day when I wake up, and that's what gets me out of bed in the morning, and that's what I hope at the end of the day somebody would say, yep, you're helping, and we've got the right people and the right technology, and we're doing the right things.
Yeah.
I think having the two titles together, though, gives you a little bit more leverage than some of us have just had that head of HR role. Seriously, because sometimes those are the two that kind of fight over what are we actually finding impactful? What are we going to invest in technology? So, yeah, I mean, kudos to you. You can just come up with your idea and immediately you're like, yeah, let's do it.
That's right. It's just that easy. It just happens like
just
that.
Just
just
right?
Like
Everybody trusts
right.
you. You've got this excitement, this passion. I would say yes. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I've got wonderful teams on both sides that help us to be successful there too. So it's great. We're doing good things and got good people, and it's a good place to be. It's a very good place to be. Very
Yeah.
happy.
Hey, Paul, the last question I think I want to ask you is maybe just a bit of a, maybe give folks listening to the show, like HR leaders, business leaders, and all kinds of industries, right? All of them really, right? Maybe just a little bit of, I don't know, rally them a little bit to like try to help them understand the value of committing to the ongoing development, to bringing folks in at those entry levels, really investing in their development and nurturing that next set of first line managers, next line managers, and leaders. I'd love for you to maybe just, from your perspective,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
value of making those
yep.
investments.
I mean, I think if you think about your people as your most important asset, and really you want to train those people, if they learn your culture and are committed to your culture, and you can help them grow and give them opportunities and train them and teach them. And one of the things we didn't talk about is we move people around a lot. Like, how the heck does the IT guy end up running HR? Good question. I think I'm just symbolic of, hey, look, if you're willing to do good things, we give people opportunities, and the opportunities are endless. And I think that helps to foster the culture. It helps to have people be committed. I mean, we've got some very, very long tenured folks here because they've never been bored. They feel like they're running their own business. They feel like they're involved in something that they're committed to. They're connected to it. The passion, the mission is there. And they've never felt like they hit a ceiling or got capped or don't know what's going to be new, or, don't have an opportunity to do something different. Or weren't able to get trained and taught how to be successful, or don't have the right tools or processes to be able to figure that out. I think those are the things that you've got to stay focused and committed on, developing your folks and giving them the chances and the opportunities. But you got to listen. I think the only way you know what those look like is you've got to listen to your folks and be connected and be out there. And, I like to say God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I like to use them in that ratio, right? Ask questions, listen, understand, find out from people what they want, and ask, right? What do you need? What's working? What's not? What's in your way? How can I help you? I mean, take Maggie's words, right? How can I help you? What do you need to be successful? Those are the things that, breed this kind of continuous success.
Paul, you are my ideal leader.
Yeah,
We get asked that from time to time. I'm going to point to you. I'm going to say, this guy gets it, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're really doing a good job. Again, for people who have any interest in this at all, please go check out the website. It will make you want to work there, really. Not just be a customer there. It makes you want to be part of something that's so connected, I think.
Yeah, great story. It's 84, and 84 is, I didn't know this either, Paul. I've been around 84 Lumbers. I've been in one. My project was a big play set thing I had to build, and I had a very complicated bill of materials. I'll tell the story now real quick. I had a very complicated bill of materials I needed for this thing. It was very large. I kind of didn't really know what I was doing either, and I ended up in 84 Lumber, and they helped me. They got all the stuff I needed, got it all together, got it all put together, got it delivered out to my place. And then it was up to me to try to assemble the thing, but that was another story. But it saved me so much time and so much heartache. The fact that I was able to go into a store like that and get that hands-on help. This is 10, 15 years ago. I still remember it like it just happened, right? So very meaningful to me. And I speak from personal experience there. But Paul, I love this. I love the passion. I love the story. I love the 84 Lumber story. I love how in a world that where we can feel kind of cynical about what's going on in the job market and with AI, and there's a lot of Gen Zers out there like, oh man, late stage capitalism is conspiring to give me a really bad deal. There are opportunities at a place like 84 Lumber for folks who, as you said, I'll use your words, Paul, willing to bet on themselves. And I love that. That's my favorite line of the day. So Paul, it's been great to meet you. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'm so glad we got the chance to talk.
Thank you for your time. I'm glad we got to have a chat, and I hope we get to do it again sometime.
I would love it. I'm going to send people to 84lumber.com/careers, by the way. Check out what's going on there. We'll put that link in the show notes. I love the 84 Lumber shirt, by the way, Trish. I got to get my hands on one of those.
I know, right?
That looks really cool.
We got a logo shop.
I'm going to get on there and get one of those. I love that shirt.
And Paul, where can people connect with you directly? On LinkedIn? Where's the best?
LinkedIn would be great. Yep, LinkedIn's probably the best place to grab me. Yep, and I'm happy. I'm a big LinkedIn guy, so let me know if I can help. And if anybody's interested in a career, I can point you in the right direction. And we've got opportunities across the country. So
I'm going to be your new external recruiter. I think I'm going to point people there left and right. So
we've got plenty of opportunities. So we'll take it. Okay.
Awesome. Well, you got 2 new fans in us, Paul, for sure, and probably lots more
Thank you,
after
guys.
folks listen to the show. So Paul Yater, he's the Chief Information Officer and Head of HR at 84 Lumber. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Go check out the website, 84lumber.com/careers if you're interested in that. We'll put that link in the show notes. Connect with Paul on LinkedIn. We'll put that link in the show notes too. And Trish, thank you. It was great stuff today. I loved it. Favorite show of the year so far for me, I think.
I would agree. I would say I agree. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you,
right.
guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks so much.
Take
Thanks
care.
for listening
Have a
to the
wonderful
Outwork
day.
in America show. And for Trish Steve, for Paul Yater, my name's Steve Bose. We'll see you next time. And bye for now.